the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits of business, life, and health. It's episode 45. We're talking about status quo. Boo! We hate it. My name's Brian Benson, and next to me, well, he listens to Kenny G in the dark, Mike Stull. And he wrote a book called Dominate Your Day, and he is about to dominate your day right now.
All right, this is more a little health and wellness based, but also it could be applied towards business as well. Reward yourself along the way. Don't be afraid to have a few slices of pizza, your favorite tacos, or a hamburger and fries. And that's coming from the personal trainer saying that. You cannot eat chicken and broccoli for the rest of your life. You will get very burnt out on that style of eating. Plan ahead and schedule rewards where you can enjoy your favorite dish without guilt. You need to eat in a way which is sustainable for life and still gets you to your goals. Anyone who says that they eat chicken and broccoli 3 to 4 times a day is probably lying to you anyways.
Liars.
And if they are actually eating like that, then they're freaking totally missing out on life. Okay? So again, it has to be sustainable. And the quote at the bottom, it's actually an anonymous quote. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see.
Ooh, perception is reality, baby. All right, let's get into this because, this is a topic that's very near and dear to Mike and I's heart, and we've always talked about how to disrupt and change things. And, you know, we wanted to, you know, disrupt even the personal development industry with bringing a little bit of entertainment and fun and excitement to it. We never really wanted to just, you know, preach whatever. We're very raw and real about the whole thing. You know,
work hard, play hard.
Yeah, work hard, play hard.
We're not a bunch of stiffs.
No, we're not a bunch of stiffs. I drank a beer a few nights ago.
We're usually drunk before we do the podcast anyways. We just had never told you guys. Just kidding. But not really, though.
We drank tequila last episode, which we should have got some tequila for this episode. We really missed out on that.
That was awesome, though, man. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I thought that really brought out the best in me.
Having a buzz really takes your perception on things to a whole new level.
I thought we were so much cooler than we probably were.
And as you were talking, I felt like there was like hidden sub-meanings and stuff, but it could have been a tequila. I don't know.
Oh, God. Oh, tequila. All right, let's get into this. All right, status quo. You want to go through the definition here that we have, and then we'll go in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, you hear people talking about status quo, but really what is it? Status quo is Latin for existing state. When we talk about status quo, however, we often mean it in a slightly bad way. When people want to maintain the status quo, they are often resistant to progress. If you run for mayor, for example, of your town, and you come into office with all sorts of new ideas, watch out. People may resent you for disrupting the status quo.
And that happens in a lot of places, and I think as we go through this, you guys will start to say and see and feel. You know, a lot of people don't do it in fear of, hey, I could get fired or something could happen. But that's why I want to read this piece out of Seth Godin's book. And if you guys have not read this book, seriously, you need to read this book. It's called Linchpin. Are You Indispensable? You need to read this book. I promise you, it will blow your freaking mind. It's amazing. Seth Godin, hit us up, brother. All right. The job is what you do when you are told what to do. The job is showing up at the factory, following instructions, meeting specs, and being managed. Someone can always do your job a little better or faster or cheaper than you can. The job might be difficult, it might require skill, but it's a job. Your art is what you do when no one can tell you exactly how to do it. Your art is the act of taking personal responsibility, challenging the status quo, and changing people. I call the process of doing your art the work. It's possible to have a job and do the work too. In fact, that's how you become a linchpin. The job is not the work. Seth Godin, Linchpin, Are You Indispensable? Guys, when you read that, when you just hear this quote, it is so damn true. And at every part of what we've been taught growing up in school, in your job, and whatever, unless it's this very entrepreneurial organization, how many times has it just been, look, if you do these things, you'll get an A. If you do these things, you'll get a nice pension at the end of this. If you do these things, you'll be rewarded. So we are taught from when we are young to be this robot, to not disrupt, to not question, to not push the limits in business, life, and health. We are taught to do things a certain way and we will be rewarded. Ladies and gentlemen, that time and in that world is over. It is time to make a change, and it's time to stand up for what you believe in and be confident in that.
Yeah, society would say, stand in line, don't get out of line, wait in turn, wait your turn, don't just think that it's your turn and cut in line, right?
Yeah, right.
Show up at 9, you're going to leave at 5, do as you're told. Don't say anything, wait till it's your turn to speak, like society is telling you when it's your turn.
Yeah.
And then what Brian says is it's always your turn. It's your turn now, like you decide when it's your turn. So if you want it to be your turn right now, then that's when the time is right now. And the things I circle on here is because you always talk about how you want to express your art,
Mm-hmm.
And so I underlined personal responsibility, challenging the status quo, and changing people. Those 3 things, I think, is why we become entrepreneurs, because we do feel like we are different. It's not that we feel we're better. We do feel that we're different, and we feel this sense of personal responsibility to change people and to help them change, which is why we kind of started this podcast in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, everyone can go out and get a job. And even let's say your job was to dig holes on the side of the road for 10 hours a day. That's fine. What Seth is saying in here is, yeah, that's fine, but what can you do by digging those holes that is your art? Well, you can do it better. You can dig them bigger. You can dig them faster. Like, even if you are working a normal job, there's a way for you to separate yourself from the rest of the people by your art.
Yeah.
Within that job.
Exactly.
And I think
Use a
that's
different
worth
tool.
noting.
Ask, hey, do holes need to be dug this way?
Right.
Do they really need this shovel and me standing over like this? Could there be another way? And
Right.
that's what you need to ask and challenge that and be okay with challenging that. And look, if there is no better way, at least you challenged and tried to see if something could change or be different. And I think too many people don't do that. And that's why I want to say, like, when we get into this, why do we sometimes accept it? Because there's probably a little bit of fear or a little bit of worry or a little bit of too much risk, or we even have here, maybe your parents said, go to school, get a good job, be there. So you don't want to go out of your way. And the reality is why this happens, and I'll tell you, it's a thing called your lizard brain. Lizard brain is your animalistic manner. It is why dogs and squirrels and all types of animals don't question status quo. They do what they need to do. They can fight for what they believe in, but normally they'd rather run and hide. That fight or flight sort of idea. And us as humans, we can make the choice to do things differently. We have that opportunity to push against the resistance. Most people say, don't question why that person's digging holes that way, because people are going to look at you weird, people are going to judge you. We've done it this way for 1,000,000 years, so why should it be any different? And that's what, the resistance is very real, the lizard brain is very real, and that's probably why people don't make changes or do anything or try to disrupt the system.
Right, why being humans, it truly is unique that we have that opportunity.
I know.
To not accept things as is. Right. And as an animal, it's like you said, it's survival of the fittest. They just want to be in their comfort zone, and it's flight or fight. And then if they have to fight, they go back into hiding,
Yeah.
Whereas as a human being, we legitimately have choices and opportunity every damn day. And we do. We take that for granted, which is hopefully our mission here, that you guys realize that you have an opportunity every day to question and rebel the status quo.
I mean, if you're not questioning it, then you just don't believe enough. But I mean, you need to believe in your ideas and in your art and in the things that you're doing. I mean, I think that too many people just want to clock in and clock out. And that's fine. I mean, I'll read this, I guess. I mean, we can go
and let me
into
read this
or...
too. I want to read this word for word.
Okay,
that I've written
yeah.
down here too. So Brian put, to be a disruptor, the path is neither short nor easy. It often comes with a lot of scrutiny, weird looks, and what Brian described as lizard brain. Your lizard brain wants safety, food, shelter, and sex. It's our animalistic instinct. It will fight for survival, but it would rather run and hide. Survival and success are two very different things. Lizard brain is the resistance. It's the reason why, all caps, why we accept it.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, if you read that, and we let our animal instinct take over, because the very first part of this sentence says the path is neither short not easy. If Mike and I really, you know, if we just were saying, do we know this podcast is going to take a long time to build, the movement's going to take a long time to build, but if we were just to say, okay, it's going to take too long and we're going to quit, like, no, like, we understand that it's going to take a long time. When Mike got down and said, I'm going to write a book, he knew it was not a short path, and he knew it was not going to be easy. It took him 3 years to put this work of art together, to share it with the world. Like, to share his art with the world, he put 3 years of his fucking life into this. Like, you can't, dude, and now this is something people are using on a daily basis. And I hope you understand that your art has changed people's lives. And more people need to understand that your art can change other people's lives. Just because if you don't believe in it, then it's not going to happen. But you got to believe so deeply that it can. Like, people allow their lizard brain to say, it's going to take too long, it's going to be too hard, people are going to judge me, I'd rather be safe, I'd rather take my paycheck, I'd rather not write this book because what if people say it's stupid, I'd rather not do these types of things. They don't want risk. But you have to. You have to get out of your comfort zone. If you want something so bad, you have to do it. It's just the reality.
I think that I don't know if I should say I think we're born with it, but I think we are definitely trained to just completely play it safe. You know, like, people don't wake up and they're like, I want to bungee jump. They almost have to, like, build themselves up to that, because it is very risky and very scary. Anything you could think of that's risky or scary, it's not like you're born and you want to do that your entire life. Like, I think as time goes on, the more and more you challenge things and you ask questions, you get more confident and you're willing to step over that line and say, you know what, no, I think I can bungee jump, or I think I can do this, or I think I can do that. But I think, like, for me personally, I've had to really build into that, because growing up, personally, I think that I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of things that were challenging. But I noticed that as I continued to put myself in that position, like public speaking, for example, like, I was deathly afraid. The more and more I did it, the more and more I gained confidence in it. And the more and more I wanted to public speak and tell people how I felt, because I got sick and damn tired of accepting that what everyone said is that's what it is. You know, like, no, like, now I want to tell you how I think it is. Yeah. I'm questioning status quo.
Now, you know, and it's very true. I think that there's some DNA inside of us that helps with that, but there's so much of it that you can learn and will into existence and become. And I think that's, you know, I had to do the same thing. And that's what I think is so beautiful about being a human being, is like, we have that choice to say we could question things and do things different and get out of our comfort zones. Like, too many people don't understand that, like, when it feels most uncomfortable, it means you're supposed to be doing it. It means you're growing and changing and creating. And if you think that you're going to do all those things and change the world by sitting on your couch, taking your paycheck, you know, clocking in, clocking out, not questioning things at your job, or taking risks, then you're not going to change a damn thing.
Yeah, I think, honestly,
people are afraid of risk.
I'm like what you said, though. Like, I'm to the point now where I realize the opportunity that we have to share what we're passionate about, and that we want to make a change. That, like, I'm kind of slightly annoyed by people that don't want to, or they keep saying, I don't have anything to offer. Like, Gary Vaynerchuk even said it. Like, standing on the street corner of New York City. You could have been a bus. You could have been a tree. He said you could have been a pole, but you're a human being and you have an opportunity. And it's like, you would be very selfish, like what you always say, to not stand up and speak out and tell people what's on your mind and pursue your passions.
If Mike didn't write this book, like, it would have been pretty damn selfish. I have to say that. Because, like, I mean, dude, the whole thing, you know, this episode really relates to both of us in a lot of ways, but when I think about questioning status quo, I think about you all the time. Because you left the comfort of a really nice paying job, you had a house, you had a really nice car, and you had all these things, and you went for the risk. You went for it all, man. I mean, and you put everything on the line. And dude, I got mad respect for you, bro.
I appreciate it. Honestly, maybe I don't give myself enough credit, but because I wanted it so badly that I almost underplay it, you know, I downplay it.
Yeah.
But like, I worked my ass off when I moved down here. I told myself I wanted to be at least, you know, the top 3 that people thought of when they thought of health and wellness. At least my name would be mentioned in that top 3 for personal training, nutrition, whatever. And I worked my ass off, and I got into that company. I worked my way to the top. I was making awesome money, and I had everything I really wanted. But like, I had that feeling inside of me where I was just like disgusted at what was going on around me. I'd go to company meetings, and like, there was just nothing in these company meetings that really inspired me, motivated me. People just accepted the way things are. Shit never got done, dude. Like, honestly, I would leave these meetings and I'd be like, what the hell did we just talk about? Oh, the same thing that we talked about the previous 20 meetings. Nothing ever gets done. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, I am wasting time. Like, I want to go out and, like, you know, make an impact and do what I want to do. And so that's when I decided, you know what? I'm done, man, because I don't want to be working for someone else's dream. I want to be working for my dream. I want to be working for our dream.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to take a leap of faith, and I gave it all up, and here we are. You know, things, like I said in the past, things haven't worked out exactly the way I want them to, but I'm still a work in progress. We're still in the unstoppable pursuit. And dude, I'm not ever going to fucking stop. Yeah. It's just not in me to stop. You know, Michael Jordan could have been like, oh, 1 championship was good enough. That dude, he had 6. You know, and he probably could have had 9 if he didn't retire those 3 years in his prime. But it's like, you know, I'm not ever going to stop. I know you're not going to stop. And, dude, I fucking hate status quo. I'm disgusted by it. It pisses me off and it irritates me so bad that people accept things for the way they are. I want you to read this next.
Yeah.
I want you guys to pay attention as Brian reads this. He came up with this shit, and he wrote this from the heart, and especially towards the end, the last couple of sentences, when he reads that, if that doesn't just blow your mind and hit you in the chest, then you need to figure your life out.
Yeah, I feel very passionate because I feel exactly how you feel, Mike. I got into coaching, I got into leadership because I was so frustrated with people just accepting it. Now I love to help people build businesses around their passions. I love to help people grow. I love to help people see things differently because there's just so much opportunity and too many people sit around and act like there's not. So this is what I wrote. I said, some people are okay with structure and need to be told what to do and how to do it. Basically prison, if you ask me. But it's not a bad thing for some people. I get it. You know, it doesn't mean when you have an idea, you should harbor it, though. You have to let the idea out and share it regardless of the consequences because you will be doing a disservice to yourself internally. It's like when you bury your emotions, then one day you will explode. It's the same idea here. You have to share your ideas and question things that don't seem right to you. You have to believe in yourself. If we didn't have disruptors or people to question status quo, we would never be on the moon, have iPhones, women still wouldn't be able to vote, and maybe black people would still be sitting on the back of the bus. This is how serious it actually is, my friends. How serious it is. This is so serious that all things we have come to love and enjoy and want and need in our lives wouldn't be here unless someone stood up, took their turn, and questioned status quo. Period. Everything that we love and enjoy and want and use, think about
I got
this.
the
Our
goosebumps.
daily
Crazy.
lives, things that we do every single day, the camera equipment, Mike and I sitting here is because somebody stood up and said, fuck that, I'm changing it, and they took their turn and made it happen, and you need to do the same. You need to do the same because it would be a disservice to yourself and everybody else in this world.
It's hard for me to add anything to that. All the things we have come to love and enjoy and want and need in our lives wouldn't be here unless someone stood up, took their turn, and questioned status quo. That to me is the most important line in there. Like, you know, you're watching us on iPhones or Androids right now. I mean,
Streaming
supplements, you know, yeah, streaming live. I mean, that just blows my mind, dude, that, like, honestly, like, probably anyone that you look up to, you have to realize that they at one point in time questioned status quo, you know?
Ghost,
like,
right here, this company right here, there's a million supplement companies out there. These guys sent us this. We look up to them, and they've done some great stuff. But they're taking their turn. They are taking their turn 150,000%. They're saying, look, we are going to come up with something with different logo. We're going to be super transparent. We're going to do some cool shit. We're going to be work hard, play hard. Dude, they're taking their turn. And you can too. Yep. You can too.
Yeah, and people said to Steve Jobs, dude, nobody's going to want a computer in their house. Like, what do you even say to that now? You know what I mean? Like, with how relevant in computers in, I don't even know what the statistics are on how, like, how many households, like the ratio that have computers. We have cell phones. I mean, listen, people, if you want to do anything with your life, you're going to have to start asking some questions. And that's all I got to say. It's hard to add anything to what Brian had put down because when he sent this over to me earlier today, I read this shit. I sat down and actually read it like 3 times because those last couple of lines like really just made me realize just how important this is. You know, especially like the African American thing, sitting on the back of the bus, like
dude.
Some epic events in history, dude.
Every epic event.
Get away from like materialistic possessions. Like we're talking about voting,
oh,
you know, like segregation and stuff like that. Like, dude, this is real life shit.
That's what I'm saying. Everything we have in life, it's because of people like Rosa Parks, who's just so inspiring, said, wait, why the heck do I have to sit back here when I should be sitting up here? I can sit here. And she changed the world. Changed the world. Like, that's what questioning status quo can do. You can change the world. And just think about that for a second. Literally, she was no different than you and me and Mike and anybody. She's a normal person who stood up and said, I don't like the way things are, I'm changing it, and sat in a different seat. And that's what you can do. Right. We all can do it. And people are afraid. People are worried. Yeah, did she suffer some consequences for it? Of course. But she changed the world. So, look, anybody, I mean, Abraham Lincoln, and even now, like, dude, anybody who's a disruptor changed things. I look at the politics now, like, even what Donald Trump did, not everybody agrees with him, but you gotta look at that and go, he challenged status quo of politicians.
Right.
And now he's the president.
Yeah, he said, well, why can't, I guarantee they were in a meeting and he told his crew, whether you like him or not.
Yeah, I don't care what your preference is.
He said, well, why can't I be president?
Yeah.
And then now here he is. So it's like, that makes you realize, like, you have to ask questions. You absolutely have to.
I know, and you have to be confident about it, people. It doesn't matter. Like, anyway.
So let's get in.
Let's break the mindset of this.
So the question would be, you know, are you willing, before we get into these 10, if you really do want to make a change in the world, are you truly 100% willing to take some shit for it?
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're going to change the world and everyone's going to be hunky-dory about it. It's not going to happen. Like, you need to ask yourself if you're willing to be put through the ringer in order to really do something special and unique. So, okay, so what can we do to break status quo? We're going to go over 10 topics here. So here we go. Number 1, You trust yourself and your instincts more. You could care less about what people say or think. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay? That's a good one.
Yes, I love that one, man. I mean, so true. So trust yourself. Number 2, you improve your mindset. You don't think outside the box. You think like there is no box.
I love that one. Number 3, you break the rules, not necessarily the law, in the limitations once defined.
Yes, I mean, that one I love is Elon Musk for me. He not even being an astronaut or knowing anything about astrophysics, goes to goes outer space.
Yeah.
But he just was like, wait, why do we have to go this way? Why can't we go? Just define
Right.
the limitations.
One thing I wanted to say too, that was number 3, but on number 2, you don't think outside the box, you think like there is no box. Even Dr. David Perlmutter here in town in Naples, he's really big on nutrition, and he had said in one of a quote, he goes, it's not like I'm coming up with all this stuff and thinking outside the box. He goes, I am expanding the box. He goes, like, this is already in the box. It's just people haven't really thought about it. So it's not like he's like, reinventing the wheel or something like that. He's expanding that damn thing. It's already there.
I mean, that's Albert Einstein, too. I mean, all these inventors, Thomas Edison and Ford and everybody, I mean, they just said, well, why can't we have this? And then they figured it out. It's, oh, God, I love this episode.
I know.
All right. Stop being afraid to fail. You just have to go for it and persist, even when all hell breaks loose and times get rough. Persist, baby.
Yes, and trust us, hell will break loose and times will get rough, but you have to persevere. I mean, Brian and I were on episode 45, and we've had all sorts of shit go haywire throughout this journey of like building our podcast and our movement. So take it from us, it is hard. Number 5, you are no longer paralyzed by fear. You are determined to go and do what you need to do.
Love it. All right, stop listening to the naysayers, critics, and all negativity in between. End of story.
You are willing to work your butt off 24/7 to make what you believe become your reality.
Just to add on to that really quick, like Mike and I put a lot of effort into doing that. We not only work our butts off, but like we have put so much out into the universe that we are working to make what we put out there, and we talk about it all the time. We always walk out in the garage. I'm telling you, we walk out in the garage after every episode, and we literally are like, imagine our 2 Lambos, boom, boom. We start them up, and like we see that happening so much that I know one day, Mike and I are going to walk out of the studio, and we are going to fire up our Lambos side by side, Berg Dudes 1, Berg Dudes 2.
And we are speaking that over ourselves. You have to, because your words have power, and we talk about that. But, and it's one thing to believe, but we also take the action that,
that's the thing.
That accompanies that.
The more we talk about it, the more it's in our brain, the harder we work. The harder.
And I want to say something, too, because Brian, he texted me maybe yesterday or something, and he said, I won't give the specifics of it because it's coming in the future, but he said something as if it was already like set in stone, and I wrote him back like, I know, man, totally, like, yes, it's happening. And he wrote me and he goes, well, it hasn't happened yet, but you know what I mean. It's going to happen. But I was like, no, I know it's going to happen. Like, you don't have to explain that to me. I understand that we're speaking these things into existence.
Yeah, that was funny. All right, you're determined to figure out a way to create the change you believe is possible. You are hell-bent on leaving no stone unturned until you do. My friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, keep unturning stones until you figure out the thing that you want. Keep flipping them over. You can do it. You can do it.
And we had these 2 kind of together.
Oh, sorry.
No, so that's okay. And lastly, most of all, you deeply realize the importance of your life in giving back. And I think that's really important because that goes back to what we had said in the last line, what you said earlier. What we want in our lives wouldn't be here unless someone stood up, took their turn, and questioned status quo. I think that as you pursue your journey and you start asking questions, you start to realize more and more what your reason for existence is, what your purpose in life is, where your passion lies, and you're able to navigate better through life with a vision.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I agree. And you know,
Giving back
is so important. I mean, even if
the
you
importance of your life,
Yeah.
that's deep.
Yeah.
You know, because there's probably people that are listening and watching right now, and they don't know what the hell they're supposed to do. You may not even know what your passion is. And I was there at one point in time, and you start questioning, like, well, what, you know, how is my life important? I don't have any skills and talents, and what you do.
I know.
You may just not realize it yet, but we're here to tell you that you do. It takes time to find your passion and navigate through life, but you're not ever going to find that unless you take a leap of faith and put yourself out there to become vulnerable, to be exposed to everything the world has to offer, and then go after what it is you want in life.
Dude, you know, that vulnerability piece is so important. And just a side story, when about 8 years ago, I truly did question my value and why I was here, and I went to kind of a dark place. I went to a conference, and we were in front of a bunch of people, and I got vulnerable, and I said, I'm just questioning my value, and if I'm valuable, and what I'm doing here, and if what I think I'm doing is important. And the guy looked at me and he said, well, that's just sad, because you wouldn't be here on this planet if you didn't have something to give. And that changed my life right there, because I was like, wow, like, I am here for a reason. There's a reason you were born. There's a reason your soul exists. There's a reason why out of the hundreds and millions of sperm that go through to go into the egg is like, because you were chosen. You know, you made it. Like, Gary Vee says this, what is this, like 4 trillion and one to become a human being? It's like ridiculous.
Could have been a tree, could have been a rat, could have been an ant.
I know.
Could have been a flower.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
could have been so many things, but
dude,
you are a human being.
You could be this table. Yeah, I mean, you could be any, but we were chosen to be humans. And if you aren't grateful and happy and realize that you have art and things to share with the world, then I feel sorry for you. I just feel sorry for you, because you have more to give, and you have a ton, and I just feel sorry for you. Exactly what that guy said to me, because you are a unique, unrepeatable person, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't have value and a purpose to be here. So the importance of your life, you deeply realize the importance of your life. You are an important person. Everybody's important. Every single person is important. And you just have to realize that yourself. And once you do, you'll be unstoppable.
And I'm glad that you shared that story, because look where you're at now.
Yeah?
Like, everyone goes through dark times in their life. I've been through dark times. We've all been through it. But, every season will pass. People come in and out of your lives. Your current situation isn't going to be like that forever. Like, look at you, dude. You're crushing it now. You're crushing it with your Inspire Link. You're crushing it with the Unstoppable Pursuit. But it wasn't always like that. But you had to find a way out of that dark place, and it took someone else talking to you and saying, listen, dude, you need to stand up, rise up out of this dark place. You have so much to offer. Like, do you really think that you're just supposed to walk around and go through the motions and take up space and breathe air and not contribute to society in a unique way? You know what I mean? And you self-reflected on that, and now here you are, dude, and like, I admire you, bro, because, the things that you say on here and the things that you say to other people and the way I see you interact with other people, like like I read a quote the other day, and it says that, like, really, like, how people feel around you really shows, like, who you are. And I feel like the things you say to people, when I see you interact with people, like, they feel better about themselves. And that says a lot about who you are and where you're at in your life, that you are paying it forward and lifting people up. So again, if you're listening or watching and you are in that place that Brian was at, look at Brian right now. He's not there. That passed. He's in a much better place now. Like what you say, the ups and the downs, the dips, and getting through those. And that's what this podcast is about, to bring you out of that place and let you guys know that that's not going to be forever. Okay, so keep your head up. Keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other, breaking into manageable chunks. If you don't know what to do the next hour, like I always say, just do the next best thing.
Yeah.
do that, and then do the next best thing again. Even if it's every 30 minutes, I'm going to do this. And when you do it, now I'm going to do the next best thing.
I agree, man. I mean, it's, thank you. And man, oh man, get out there and question status quo. Make your dreams come true. You can do it. You can do it. All right, let's get into the challenge. The challenge for today is, if there is something bothering you in your life, something that has been out there that you have not questioned, that it's this episode. Question status quo. I want you to question something. Either you're working for a company, either you have your own company, you haven't started that health and wellness journey that you've been wanting to do. You've been questioning, you've been wondering what to do. Like, question some of the things that you're doing, and if you can do them differently or better. But also, the challenge is to really just believe in yourself, become a linchpin, and become indispensable, like Seth Godin says, because you can do the job, you can show up every day and do your thing, but you can still lose all that unless you become a questioner of status quo or a linchpin. So I just beg you to please, please, please challenge yourself to start questioning things that you don't agree with, even if you know there's going to be some consequences on the other side.
Yes, if you want to accept status quo, then you're going to be like everybody else. If you want to be unique and do something special, you have that choice as well. It literally is a choice. That's what it comes down to. As far as our health tip for this episode, fake replacement butters are an enemy to our diets and often contain trans fat. Real butter, on the other hand, has made quite a comeback, and rightfully so. It contains healthy saturated fat. Healthy saturated fat, and I'm going to talk about that positively impacts our cholesterol levels. For a change, try blending some grass-fed butter in with your morning coffee. I know it sounds crazy, but it is very good. You can do the bulletproof coffee. A lot of times that's what people do instead of creamer. It tastes wonderful. So quickly, I just want to talk about the fake replacement butters. A lot of the margarines and stuff like that are, they have what's called trans fat in them, which is a man-made fat that keeps things stable at room temperature, okay? And there was a study that was done in the past, and what they did is they took real butter and they put it on a table, and then they put the fake butter in there, and they let a bunch of insects in the room. So I want you to guess which butter that the insects actually landed on.
The fake butter.
No, the insects landed on the real butter.
Oh, they're on the real butter.
Yeah, because the fake butter is so toxic even for the insects that they gravitated towards the real butter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it goes to show you. And trans fat, it has been linked to heart disease because it causes high amounts of inflammation. So people that use the fake spray butters and whatnot, I encourage you, use real butter, okay? Because real butter has good, healthy, saturated fat that our brain loves. Our brain is made of fat. Our cell membrane walls are made of fat. Dr. David Perlmutter here in town in Naples preaches cooking your eggs in butter. Putting butter on different foods and whatnot. I would much rather have you eat real butter than eat the fake butter that has a trans fat in it. One thing to note too is the FDA actually came out and banned trans fat. Here's the catch though. Any companies that have trans fat in their products, they're allowed to sell them out of their warehouse, which means companies that have 3-4 years of inventory, they're allowed to sell that out. So trans fat is banned, but companies are allowed to get rid of their inventory.
Oh.
So, for example, peanut butter, Jif peanut butter, regular old school Jif peanut butter says 0 grams of trans fat on the label. It actually has trans fat in it because if you look at the ingredients list, it says partially or fully hydrogenated oil. That is trans fat. But the government, up until they banned it, said if it has less than 0.5 gram per serving, it could have 0.49 grams of trans fat in it. They could put 0 on the label. But it's got to be in the ingredients list. So old school Jif peanut butter has trans fat in it. So when you go to get Jif, get the Jif natural. Okay, the oil's already mixed in. It has the same consistency, same taste. It just says Jif natural. They took the trans out, left all the natural fats in it from the nuts. It's good to go. Do not get old school Jif peanut butter. Get the Jif natural or any other type of natural peanut butter. It doesn't have to have the oil on top that you mix in. It can, but regular Jif natural It's the same texture. It tastes exactly the same. Get that. It doesn't have trans fat in it. Avoid trans fat like the plague, I'm telling you.
Damn, this guy's knowledgeable.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. Please question status quo. Please get healthy. Please keep pushing the limits in business, life, and health. The world deserves it, and you deserve it. You deserve to be successful and have all the things that you've ever wanted in your entire lives. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe, download, rate, review, like, comment, share. We will be so grateful for all of those things. We are here for you. We are servant leaders, my friends, and we will do whatever it takes to continue to push this podcast forward, continue the movement, and continue to leverage and help each other. Join our community. We love you, and we will see you all on the next episode.